Hi guys, extremely special guest here. As you can see, I'm ALTInsider. We're here on the Rundown, and I have two legends in the truest form of the word here from the speedrunning community. I have world record holder for every possible category. I don't know every possible category. I know you can think of some crazy stuff, but SpongeBob SquarePants, Battle for Bikini Bottom, Master SHiFT. How you feeling today, my friend?
Great. Took a nap all day. Gonna stream all night. That's how it is.
There you go. That's the life. And we have another guy who's also a legend, who also has a few world records, actually, which I was just interested to know. But he is most well known for his YouTube channel, for his 171,000 subs. EZScape, how you feeling?
Doing pretty good today. Almost forgot about those world records till you brought them up. But yeah, feels good, man.
Definitely. He's got some hot stuff going on. So, guys, let's jump in. Oh, as we can see, my co-host here, F in the chat for Cheese here. He's on his way to GDQ. He couldn't be a part of this, but he's there in our hearts. In our hearts, he's here. So let's get to it. Let's get to the main topics here. For me, even though GDQ, we'll talk about GDQ a little bit later, but for me, the kind of biggest news that came out since our last show was definitely Speed Gaming Live 2019. Speed Game, another live Speed Gaming tournament here. That's just, I mean, it's awesome. What a world we have now where this is unheard of 2 years ago to think of this live stuff, and now it's just happening. Now we have twice a year.
Setting trends, man.
You know what I mean? So what do you guys think about this? SHiFT, you go first.
You guys are trendsetters. I mean, this was not a thing before GSA, honestly. I mean, the whole idea of live events and kind of like following the lead of the Smash community. Again, like cooperating with them, getting speedrunning into their types of events, you know. Just kind of using that similar format for speedrunning has worked so well so far. And I've been to Pace and I went to Smash and Splash. Both of those events went so well. And especially at Smash and Splash, because there was a lot of crossover there. I mean, sure, at Pace there was like a local going on, the Xanadu local or whatever. But at Smash, we had all these people who were like professional Melee players and like high-level top 100 Melee players who were like walking by and just like taking interest in speedrunning. And it's something that, you know, like people said they weren't aware of it and they were really interested in it, especially like Double Dash. That was a huge hit. And these are games that like you go on speedrun.com, and I was saying on one of my recent videos that you don't really see a lot of these games high up on speedrun.com, but they have really great communities, and GSA is helping bring that out. And we got Speed Gaming following suit, so we're going to see more great things.
Mm-hmm. What about you, Easy? What do you think?
Well, I mean, I'm just going off of what he said with Double Dash. I thought that was a really, really great showing because I had never seen that before. Even though I'm like definitely watch a lot of speedrunning content, but I really love like the format that they have. Even with like currently how GSA is doing their format, I'm currently working on a video discussing like a lot of those things. But I feel like Double Dash, especially because the format worked so well, it was like a really back and forth type thing, and people had time to collect their thoughts. But as far as like the whole, you know, speedrunning as an esport in general, I mean, so far it's so good. That's all I can really say at the moment. Still kind of working out the longevity of the sport itself. So that's kind of what I'm more looking forward to. But the speed gaming tournament, I didn't hear about this, honestly. I have to do my research now, I guess, because so is this going to be with twitch.tv/speed gaming at all, or
this is the speed gaming.
So it's all them.
Yeah, all them, all their event. Yeah, so there's $3,000 prize pool for all the biggest games. They're ready to do more games if you give them recommendations. The one thing I really like about this is that's worth noting for everybody is you can just show up and join, right? It's not about like these long tournaments, which I think is kind of the negative of GSA setup right now. It's kind of those kind of tournaments that go for 6 months and then we kind of get to the finals and then we're there, which kind of, we still kind of find the right format is not found yet, I think, for these kind of tournaments.
Yeah, how are they even like managing this, having people just come and enter?
Here's the thing.
All these games take like hours long, right?
Well, they're doing randomizer, so that itself makes it lesser. They're kind of, all the things they're doing a randomizer in short games, hour-long-ish stuff, it seems like. And also, there's 250 entrant cap, right? 250 people can come to this event. That's the cap, right? So it's not about spectators here, I don't think. I mean, how can it be? There's 250 people. There's like, 5 tournaments. It's like, if you're coming, you're playing, that's cool. But it doesn't seem to me to be about the audience experience, which whatever, if that's good or bad, how you see that. But that's definitely how it looks like to me. So in terms of, anyways, it just to kind of put a bow on it, it's just awesome where this is going, and if there's two things now that are doing competitive speedrunning live events. I mean, GDQ is still the Super Bowl. It comes twice a year, but if this stuff is going, the more the fill the calendar gets, the better it gets for everybody. You know what I mean? That's the bottom line. And the more people that find these kind of games that, like Shift was saying, there's also going to be some smaller games doing tournaments and stuff too. That's just awesome. But anyways, let's get to the other topic of discussion here. GDQ is starting in, very soon now. A few hours when this goes live. It might be going on when this goes live. So yeah, overall thoughts here. Everyone here have a run? Anyone going there? What's the deal? You start us off, Easy.
Oh, me? Well, I think you should start with the dude that just got a run in, apparently.
I was slow rolling.
Yeah.
I got denied.
Not officially yet, but I just got a message from GDQ saying they want my run in as a backup. So that's going to happen presumably on Wednesday morning. I got to change my flights around and everything to get there. So, it worked out. I was kind of sad because, it's bittersweet because my stream is doing so well lately with the announcement of Rehydrated, the remaster of Battle for Bikini Bottom. So I'm getting so much attention on my channel. I'm trying to really write it out. So I was thinking, don't go to GDQ. You're just going to hurt your stream. But now with the run-in on Wednesday, I can afford to go for a couple of days, come back, and still, grind it out. So it's nice that I got word before the event started that they want me in. So I'm really happy about that. And hopefully, it's a category I haven't played much lately because the games had a lot of leaderboard changes and politics in the past few months since I got the run in as a backup. So there's a lot of stuff up in the air, but I'm gonna probably practice it for the next week, 10 hours a day, and get it ready to go. So
that's a shift way.
That's
for sure.
And I'm gonna get fucked up. So that's also good.
That's the shift way for sure. All right, EZScape, were you planning on going already, or you just as a visitor? I know you put a game in, didn't get it, but.
Yeah, so I put my game in, Spyro Reignited Trilogy, which had a 100% chance of getting in this year. Unfortunately, it's a trilogy, so there's 3 games, and the first game is always the most popular, and Chris has already ran at the event, so I definitely thought he was going to get in, 100% he was going to get in, but I was hoping that maybe they take both games, but maybe next time. Mm-hmm. It's also really good that Shift got in because just in case they just never accept the game in, or for a while later, because now that Hydrated will be coming out, if there's a game to get in over this or the original or the new one, it's going to end up being the new one. So
they might even take the remake eventually if it ends up being a good speed run. I have doubts, but
well, I would think that they would just take it almost. Well, we have to see it first. We have to see if it's
exactly
gonna be a dope game first.
The game studio that's working on it, they've made one game in the past, so people are saying, it's kind of they're kind of skeptical because they don't have a lot of experience. But the one community that they made the game for, they were very interested in their input and wanted to take a lot of consideration from them to make it the best game possible. So I guess we'll see what happens because this community is growing so quickly and it seems kind of unignorable at this point. People are saying that my community that's built around this game is part of the reason why this is happening. I don't know how accurate that is, but it could be part of it. They might be aware of what's going on here, so we'll have to see if they want to work with me. I made a video about this recently about my proposing to them helping with their marketing. And potentially even giving them advice on the game too if they want to take it.
Yeah, there has to be a link there for GDQ's selection of the backup runs. They would be foolish not to think about, hey, Shift's getting a lot of attention. Like I told you on Twitter, when I saw that remaster was confirmed, I was like, think of any speedrun in the world and think of any possible remaster. Is there anyone that will affect a single runner more than that remaster? In a positive way, you know what I mean? It's just insane.
My stream has already tripled in size, and it's still it's stable too. I've had many times in my career where I've averaged many viewers, but just goes straight back down. It just seems to be pretty stable right now. It's surprising.
Yeah,
finally ready to take it to the next level.
Definitely. All right, so I want to get back to that for sure. But any other notes on GDQ? So Easy, are you going or not?
So yeah, I'm going 1 day late because save $300 on flights. Can't just not do that. But no, I'm going to be at every GDQ because I actually do work. I volunteer. I am actually while we're in this call, I'm currently uploading the official highlights from AGDQ. I wasn't able to get to them during the school year, but they still said they wanted them. So I guess people have something to watch right before the event goes live.
Oh, cool, okay.
So, it was a lot because first of all, I had to watch so many different runs, get all the different highlights, but then also there's an awful block. So the awful block, I always do the awful block highlights, but this year they had 8 hours of awful block, and the year before they did not have that much. So I ended up being slimmed down to about an hour and a half Like if I could have made it like 30 minutes, but I want to be consistent with everything I was including. So yeah, an hour and a half for those highlights, and then also I make all of the custom thumbnails there that get put on the I just help with the upload team. I mean, and during that week, I'll get rid of a couple shitters in the comments section, I guess. But
well, you can only go so far with that. Oh yeah, it's interesting. You make the thumbnails. I said did you do that last time too in the AGDQ last year?
Yeah, pretty much any of the custom thumbnails you've seen I've done. I will basically, the way I see it is it's just something I saw that could be improved with GDQ. So I want to improve kind of their search engine optimization as it is, their tags, everything, just to get speed running as big as they can. And I don't know, just a lot of times with the GDQ VODs, I was like, I didn't like how they were presented. So like a lot of things that it's not just me either, that it's just like I've shot out ideas and they've been really receptive to them, such as starting the videos right when the run starts instead of like you wait 15 minutes.
Run starts at 8:50. Yeah.
The biggest thing I want to change with the channel. So I'm glad that we have that, and we just have timestamps for everything. GDQ Muffins on Twitter, she is the one that handles like most of that stuff. She puts in like so much work into the YouTube channel, and then there's a couple other people that work on it. But so that's been a big thing with that.
That's cool. And one thing I saw that's different, starting at when the run starts is so good. Instead of seeing that comment, the first comments, run starts at 15:45. It's like, all right, why are we doing this? One thing is cool. I think they're really noticeable of change of things. It's kind of these days if you have such a machine, it's tough to see changes. But one thing you can see on the schedule that is worth noting is they do now. It's like the commentators are kind of done in blocks. So I don't know if you noticed the schedule though, but there'll be like a dude on the couch for 4 runs in a row. And then there'll be a few like singles, and then there's another block of 7 runs in a row with the same commentator. So this obviously is a conscious decision. I wonder what
you're talking about. Donation readers?
No. It looks like. Oh, is that? No. It can't be. That's what the microphone means. Hold on. Let me go back to the schedule. If I'm that dumb, I am very dumb.
No. The microphone, I believe, is the host /
Oh
donation
God, I'm dumb. Never mind. No change.
Unless those are. SHiFT to correct me right here. Is that right? The person with the mic there on the bottom of the screen for GDQ is the person reading off donations, and
let me check the schedule.
Being the host in general, right?
I'm checking it right now. Oh, you're right. I'm dumb.
Yeah.
It was like, I was know why my mind went to. Oh, that's the commentator. That was stupid thinking by my part. I'm dumb.
No, I mean the commentators. You always see the commentators.
Yeah. But they're not listed. They're not listed normally. Yeah, they're not really normally listed. So I'm dumb. Just forget my point.
Just usually it's up to the runner to announce them at the start of the run. No, you're fine. You're fine, dude. It's like I think a lot of people would take that away just from seeing a mic spot. You'd probably think that might be the runner or something.
That's something to say. That's a good point though. That might be valuable information because some people care. Oh, Blecky's commentating. I'm watching this. Oh, PJ's commentating. I'm watching this. That's something to think about.
Yeah.
That'd be pretty cool. All right. Anyways, and so it's the last question. GDQ. What are your thoughts on GDQ right now? Obviously, there's a lot of things coming up that are not trying to. Obviously, GDQ is the Super Bowl. The biggest thing. Nothing's going to challenge it. But there is more events now on the calendar, and GDQ is kind of setting this is what we do, and we do it the best, and that's it. Is it time for GDQ to branch out a little bit? How about a competitive GDQ event, something like that? What do you think? Is GDQ kind of they need to try new things to kind of keep up here with the surrounding world growing around them? What do you think about that, SHiFT?
Well, that's kind of a tough question to answer because GDQ's branding is more focused on being charitable, and again, like I think the event is kind of worried about criticism right now, where it's making choices that I think are part of a plan to combat the whole stigma that people created that GDQ is like no fun allowed. They hold money for charity to pay their workers and whatnot. Anyway, if any of this is even true or not, because obviously like we don't have that information, it doesn't really matter because there's certain YouTubers who brought things like that up, and even if they aren't true, people still think that way because that's just the stigma. It was created a while ago, and people just kind of cling to it that GDQ is like a lot of people think it's like a soulless organization, which obviously is not true because like again, even I in the past have been skeptical of like how they think my game is like. Well, do they think that my game is like a joke? Do they not want to accept it even though it's like one of the most popular runs? And all the other most popular runs are getting in. But even I've been, proven wrong about like thinking they have like no respect for my game or something like that because they're willing to put it on the schedule and Like Bonesaw is coming back as well as a backup runner. Potentially he can be in the marathon as well. So I think that GDQ is trying really hard to show people like, hey, we're listening to you guys. Like we care about the speedrunning community. We're not just about raising money for charity. We're also about, raising awareness for speedrunning and growing the hobby. And I think if they want to continue in that direction, they should at least acknowledge competitive speedrunning. If they don't view GSA and speed gaming as competitors, it'd be cool to have maybe like a side event at GDQ, or maybe it depends on like the bandwidth they have, but it'd be cool to see like maybe even a side stream for GDQ. Like a lot of Smash tournaments have side streams, stuff like that. I think the people would actually watch it, because a lot of times, because GDQ, I hear from more and more people that they selectively choose runs that they want to watch, and most of the schedule they just kind of let like sit on the TV, or they just don't really watch it. I'm sure there'd be plenty of times where if they had a side schedule for side events from other organizations, people would watch that too. And again, like, because we're just about raising awareness right now, we're not at the point, especially because like I'm sure like right now all these events like Speed Gaming's events and Pace, we're all operating at a loss right now because we're about spreading awareness. So what's the difference and what's the harm in doing something charitable as a side event if GDQ would let us do something like that? Because I don't know, like I'm not like too deeply involved with GSA, but like if you guys have reached out to GDQ at this point to try and get something in there maybe for the next one, like a GDQ, that'd be pretty cool to see that break out and potentially share the stream as like a side thing. What do you guys think about that idea?
What do you think, Easy?
Well, I actually reached out to Maddie myself, since I have pretty easy contact with him, obviously. What his thoughts were about obviously Maddie being the organizer of GDQ itself, just for people watching.
Former guest.
But yeah. But I basically talked to him about, what he thought of it, and he basically just gave me a blanket answer saying that, if it continues to grow, then he would kind of see it hard to avoid, I guess is probably the better term. But pretty much like where it was standing at the moment when I talked to him, that was that was before way before like Pace or anything like that. It was like the first event that we did that was on the front page of Twitch, and everyone was really hyped, like 9,000 viewers and stuff like that. And obviously a lot of that was because of the front page. But, showing that to him, he was like, that's pretty cool, 9,000 viewers, but, you got to get up to, I guess you'd probably like closer to the 100,000 that GDQ is carrying and stuff. Yeah. But I mean, like we're on the right track. So I think if GSA keeps growing and you give them a good enough offer or give it a good enough incentive to be involved, they definitely will be involved, especially if it's going to help benefit the charity and speedrunning in general. They're definitely there to promote speedrunning just as much as like help the charity out. It's very what I want to say. I don't even know.
Mutually beneficial.
One of the things that I'm worried about personally is stagnation in viewership, because I feel that, because I've been pretty involved with the previous live marathons for GSA in the past. I've been to most of them, and I noticed that the viewership, like it seems to cap off at a certain point where I feel like it's mostly due to just like being exposed on Curse, Twitch front page, and several other places. I feel like a lot of those viewers are people who are just like stumbling upon it, but we need to really work on like brand recognition so people can, like we have more thousands of viewers who are coming back and talking about the event. Because I noticed like Pace, like the advertising and marketing for Pace was very, very good. Like you guys were doing the Twitter stuff, like every day you'd have the countdown and everything. I think Smash and Splash was a lot more low key. And while it's like, I guess it kind of makes sense because it was only a side event, I feel like even side events for this are like huge right now because they're so scarce and it's so hard to get people from around the world to come together and do these things. Like think about how if you compare it to Smash, how difficult it was and how seldom it was that people from around the world like Armada would travel to a super major to compete against the other top players in America. Like we now, like it's 2019, logistics are so much easier. We can get people from Europe over here all the time to play in these speed gaming events, like at Pace and Speed Gaming, Pace, Smash and Splash, and GDQ. Like we're having cheese at all three of those, so it makes it a lot easier now because especially because streaming is a thing, people can make more money from streaming and fly over. But so I think that we have like a really great thing going, where we have the ability to get the talent out here. We just need to make it more important, especially on social media. And I think that like especially like podcasts like this are super important as well, because eventually like when they pick up, this is news for people, and you just need more news, keep it more relevant, keep it updated. As long as we're present on the internet, we're around.
Yeah.
So maybe eventually we could, because I feel like if you put something like the Smash Summit on the front page of Twitch and Curse and all those, it would still probably average around the same number of views, but you have like tens of thousands of people who just are aware of Smash Summit, and they're going in because they know it's going to be on that date. So we just got to work on stuff like that, like so everybody knows when it's happening, and they can like work their plans around to watch it.
Yeah, really, I think it's about GSA putting together a package of hey, this is how easy it's going to be for you to make this much extra money for charity, and this is how we're going to do it. And here's the 4 big names that we're going to have doing it. Here's, it's going to be Grand Pooh Bear against Cheese against ZFG, or it's got to be like, this is a beautiful 2-hour thing of content for you that we can do, and that'd be huge for GSA if they can get it. But I mean, it's got to be put together in a way that's easy to do. And hey, we're helping you make SGDQ more awesome. We're helping you raise more money for charity, and obviously it'd be huge for GSA. So I hope they are. I hope working on that pitch someday. If the time comes, because that would be pretty cool for sure. Okay, so yeah, but I guess we talked about GDQ a long time. I guess one sentence answer here. What run are you looking forward to besides your own SHiFT? What are you looking forward to on the schedule?
I haven't really looked at the schedule, honestly. I've had my head in the clouds streaming and all that. But I know that Majora's Mask got in a second time in a row, which is pretty cool. I'm probably going to check that out. But as far as the other runs, I haven't really even looked, honestly. I have to take a look at it. I'm sure, Easy, you got any opinions on it?
Man.
No? We've all been grinding, man.
I mean, GDQ isn't something special for me anymore. It is in the same regards as what it used to be for me.
Yeah.
It is still something special to me, but I have to watch all the runs anyway, so I don't really, I'm not looking forward to any. I'm gonna watch almost
that's
every
a fair point.
I am. Most people aren't gonna have to do that, but like I have to do it. It's almost a chore for me at this point.
Yeah.
Not exactly. I end up watching 50% of the runs, and I'm like, some good shit, and then I end up having to watch the other half where I'm like, man, I'm just not into this. But looking forward, I guess, to the Spyro Ignited trilogy. I mean, just because it's my game, it's gonna be cool to see that get promoted a little bit. But I mean, I'm not even too into my own speed game, so.
I think for me, it's what I'm looking forward to. Just like you guys, I was just like. That's one thing that's changed for GDQ for me, at least, is remember there used to have these preview shows, like Spike Vegeta would have these preview shows for like 3-hour talk-throughs of the schedule and stuff, and you just don't see those anymore, because I think now we're at a point where like the GDQ is GDQ. There's going to be good runs, there's going to be bad runs, there's going to be some cringe, there's going to be some cool, funny moments, there's going to be a alpha block. It's like, you know what to expect, kind of. I don't know if that's a good thing or bad thing. I'm just saying, like, there's going to be flows to as a GDQ flows, you know what I mean? And it's like kind of the individual games don't matter as much, I think, as you remember, at least what it once did for me, when I would like pour over the schedule and figure out how am I going to watch all this shit, because I mean I used to do that like a maniac. But my favorite run I'm looking forward to the most is Super Mario World. It's 3-person race. Seathorn, Truman, TNT with Patty on the couch for the first time since the Bonesaw incident, I believe. So I wonder the pre-game speech he was given there, because the Bonesaw, the run was the one that kind of was interesting. So let's see what happens there. Okay, but anyways, let's get GDQ talk. It's awesome. Get ready for that. If you're watching that now when it goes live, hey, enjoy it. It's awesome. Put it in your second monitor. Support it. Support all you can. It's awesome, right? Biggest thing is speedrunning. Enjoy it. Okay, let's get to. I want to talk to you, EZScape, for a little bit here. SHiFT, please join me in my questioning of EZScape. Let's go put him through the grill here. But let's talk about the genesis of your YouTube channel. I was looking through the history. It looks like it used to be a RuneScape channel, right? So what made you decide to start YouTube, and what made you decide to jump into speedrunning world? Tell us all about that.
Well, I was overly addicted to RuneScape, so I quit it cold turkey and had literally nothing to do on my channel. I kept coming up with ideas, but pretty much the whole thing with how I go about making videos is what I personally sit down and watch this. I can actually watch my own videos back and still be entertained by the information I've already and spend all this time watching a video. So I literally couldn't find anything that I liked myself making. It was about a month or two after I could come up with something, and I saw in my recommended I was getting speedrunning videos from Apollo Legend, and in those, I mean, instantly I just started watching those because I was always interested. I've been watching speedrunning since 2013. Like pretty much while I was playing RuneScape, I would always just watch speedrunning streams. But he pretty much made a video saying, I think it may or may not be up on his channel anymore, but it said speedrunning needs content creators. And I was like, oh yeah, I mean, I guess this is something I could do. It was like literally the perfect timing that he posted this video saying that we need content creators in a moment where I needed content the most. So, but I didn't know what I wanted to do. So, you know, I didn't want to copy him outright, but I did see potential top 10s. But the videos that he was making weren't interesting to me because they were more about the speedrunners themselves.
Yeah.
It was more about, oh, this speedrunner made a fail. This one got, you know, this one popped off hard. And his content has been pretty consistent about the runners themselves all since he started making videos. I think like the first couple of videos he made about speedruns themselves were just, I mean, he made a couple of videos, but not that many. So I made my videos about the runs themselves, made top 10s about the actual skips. I mean, just videos that I was personally interested in and nothing else. And apparently a lot of other people were interested in that, and it just kind of took off. I was never expecting even like 1,000th of the return that I got on. So like my first videos are not very high quality because I made them low quality for a very small audience so that I could try and be like, hey, what do I need to improve on? And then but no, instead I got 1 million views. So
yeah. I mean,
pretty much I learned from that. I definitely learned from that like when you are working on something, if there is, you pretty much just put your best into anything that you work on because you really never know who might see it. Mm-hmm. So
yeah, and obviously
you're a key player now. I mean, I see people in my chat all the time. Like when you show up, people are just like, "Oh, look, it's EZScape." You know, like people know who you are everywhere.
It's interesting.
It's definitely you're definitely a part of the speedrunning lexicon. You know what I mean? Like like when a new video came out, let's go watch it. You know, just something the community does. You know what I mean? It's just one of those things. And you do walk that line where Apollo went the line of, hey, we're going to the critiques of things and the kind of people that do stuff wrong, that kind of way, and that obviously was successful for him too. Where you kind of went to, hey, this is cool stuff about the games and runs, and that's also obviously working too. So yeah, how do you come up with your episode ideas? Because some of your episode ideas are really interesting and not something you'd think of without some serious thinking. So how do you think of your episode ideas?
Yeah, definitely the controversial speedrun series was the series I put the most thought into. Which is I love doing that. Like I really started branching out after the Todd Rogers video. The problem with my channel is I literally like it sucked because I was like I can't make anything other than top 10s, and I got to the point where I did not like making top 10s because it's a single format. I basically there's rules. I have to follow the rules of it. I can't give any game too much time. I have to give like a 1 to 2 minute slot for everything. Can't make the video too long. Have to make everything concise. And like a lot of times since it's speedrunning, we have actual data so I don't even get to come up with creativity and saying like how the list is made. I pretty much just have what I have. I don't get to do anything. Not that I give too much of my own personality in my own videos, but I like being able to kind of construct even information in no matter that I want. So with the controversial ruling series, that's when I really started to more branch out with that. And that series did really well too. Again, like I found out that I wasn't a one-trick pony, that I can make content that wasn't top 10s, and all those videos have over close to 1 million views or more now. Every single one of those in that series.
Yeah, I was gonna ask, is that a conscious thing you do where you say I'm just gonna, you do keep your thoughts and opinions kind of out of it, of all your videos, kind of this is here's this cool thing and that's it. It's just, hey, there you go. But you ever thought about getting a little more spice in there?
Yeah, I've been relatively unbiased this whole time, and I mean, for the most part, I'm always going to keep it that way. But I think for like the esports video that I said I was going to be working on, I'm going to be including pretty much most of the video, other than some of the information. It's going to be completely biased because I can't give you my opinions on esports and speedrunning without being biased. So that will be probably one of my first ones where I really just like talk about my thoughts on stuff. But I think that people are going to want to hear my thoughts because I've been doing a lot of research. I've been to all of the events so far, the 2 events, but I mean, I've been really putting a lot of thought into this whole thing. Like I said, the longevity of the whole speedrunning esports thing. So, and a big thing with the video that I want is feedback, is to see what people, because I'm pretty much assuming what people want to see. I don't know actually what they want to see. So, we're going to get a lot of feedback after that and see exactly, because in my opinion, I don't know if people are going to want to keep watching the same run over and over and over again, because with these races, that's what you're going to be seeing. If you're watching a 16-star, you're going to watch, like, if you're going to watch the whole league, you're going to watch a lot of the speed runs, and I feel like it'll get to the point where people only want to tune in for the top runs. And I also felt like at the top level of competition is the only place where you'll see counterplay, because at the lower level competition, I saw that one mistake basically costed you an entire speed run. And if you saw that your opponent made the mistake, you're going to play safe for the remainder of the run. You're not going to make any major mistakes. I mean,
one thing
obviously,
that I really like. Sorry about that.
No, you're good. You're good.
All right, yeah. One thing I really like about the speedrun races from a YouTube video perspective is that when you see a world record video in your feed, it gets spoiled for you when you read the title a lot of the time. Like, you just see like this run in this number of time, but with a race, you don't have to spoil it. You can just say this match, like grand finals, this person versus this person, and it gives you more of a reason to watch the whole thing. I feel like a lot of I noticed that my personal watch time is that a lot of my videos, like when I beat my world record over and over again, people just they stop watching as much because they've already seen the run. It's just a better version of that run. Whereas like with races, there's a reason to watch every single time, I would say. But as you're saying, like, you can get fatigued from watching the same types of races over and over again, like 16-star over and over. So I think that's definitely where the commentary comes in. That's the only way I could really see like some improvement there, I would say.
Yeah,
is building more personalities around the game, because you have a lot of people who are commentating these races who like aren't really well known, because the more well known runners are the people who are in the races. Because speedrunning is not the point. It's not the point where like they're like well-known commentator personalities like other esports have. Like we're still building up our commentators' personalities. So I think it's important that we support the commentators, not just like only like focus on the runners.
Yeah, I definitely think that's true, and that's one thing. That's what you said about the kind of. That's the real. What I think the kind of best of 3 matches suffer from is I gotta watch this 3 times, and some people are like, I gotta watch this 3 times. I'm watching it 1 time and I'm out. You know what I mean? That's really, you can see the kind of viewers drop. Especially Celeste suffered from that last year a lot, because that runs like the perfect length where 1 time is kind of too short, but 3 times is too long. So people that never had the best viewership because of that. And one thing that's why I think watching the same thing over and over. That's why I think randomizer is kind of works for these races, right? Because it's a different kind of race. I know, different kind of speedrunning for sure, but you never get the same thing twice. And I think really that's why randomizer is going to have a place in speedrunning competition, I think, in some form. I don't know how, if it's going to be half.
Randomizers and bingos, definitely.
Yeah, it's going to be, I don't know what percentage, but it's got to be in there, because it just keeps there's so much new stuff you can do. But
we were doing some bingo for Battle for Bikini Bottom a while back, and we have a rule set that lasts for like 20 minutes. So I feel like something like that would also be good too, because a lot of games like I know Sunshine Bingo pretty well, because I've been in the community for a little bit, and those matches take a little bit of time because the game is long and has a lot of padding on it as well. So like traditional bingo, like popular bingo, usually takes around over an hour a lot of the time, doesn't it?
Yeah.
So I think some bingos can work maybe, but you're definitely right about the randomizer though, because I think we're starting to see as well in speedrunning people, like with the non-stop runs with 120-star and 70-star, that people are starting to gravitate more to modified versions of the original game with like similar mechanics but different objectives. And that's definitely going to be a way we can keep it interesting. Like Easy was talking about the fatigue and everything like that. I think that randomizer is going to really help, like you're saying, and bingo too, because anything with just randomness that makes the game different. Because even though like racing the same game over and over again is impressive for the level of optimization, but some certain types of people do get fatigued from that. Again, it's not for everybody, so you got to consider like taking the same game and adding variety to it, because there always needs to be a little bit of variety.
Yeah. And I think it's something that we should look into doing more aggressively. I think like the Mario 64, we should just always do nonstop, because it's just a better watch, right? We should viewer entertainment should be above anything else. And like some people might say, well, you can't get a world record then in a race. A world record's not going to happen in the highest competitive games live. It's not going to happen. Just Never. Forget about it. And of course, you might say, well, I got to, it's like just like when the GDQ they get a world record in a game that has like one runner or something. It's cool, but it's not you know what I'm saying, you know. It's not like
It's cool because you can like kind of like sympathize with the person who's like it's like they're just happy, you know. It's their reaction that's really cool about it because it just makes the event more wholesome. But yeah, as far as like being impressed, like not really as much now.
Yeah. So I think it's just I think we should aggressively attack that field and say, you know, make this run, mod it however we have to make it the best watch possible, because in the end we want viewers, right? That's what we have to get more of. So
the thing is, like, I focus a lot on that as well, like viewership and everything like that. And yeah, people in my community for battle, because I'm the community leader, where people like they criticize some of my actions, saying that like, well, we like this category, we want to keep doing races of it. You know, why do we have to try this one? Because again, if you don't know, I talked to Cheese a little bit about potentially getting NG Plus into like another invitational, because the Battle for Bikini Bottom invitational last time went so well. I think you could do even better with NG Plus, which is just a different mode where it's not literal NG Plus. It's made up where you use cheat codes, like in-game codes, to activate the powers early and use cruise boosting earlier in the run. So it lets you skip the really long and boring boss fights, and it also lets you do faster movement, and it gives you more opportunities to make mistakes and save time throughout the run. So just better for racing. And also it's 10 minutes faster than 8%, so it's better for scheduling as well. Cheese and I had a long discussion about this, that it'd be a lot better to watch, but the thing is, like, it's so hard to get people on board with like changing the way they play the game when they're so used to the one way. And one of the ways that we've been tackling that is with all these leaderboard changes that, again, like after a while, we could talk about this later because it's off topic, but we've gotten more people to take interest in this version of the game that's, even though doesn't require mods, some people still think it's weird because it has cheat codes in it. But again, like, it's all about spectatorship. Like, these games aren't made perfectly. They don't have the luxury of being like, I guess, like a multiplayer game where a match is a match and there's a lot more like way to express yourself and more variety in the interactions. Like, we have to do what we can to make these games unique each time.
Yeah. You can't. It's hard to show personality in a game, in a speed run, right? It's easy to show it in a FPS game. You know, everyone plays Fortnite differently. Everyone plays Overwatch differently. But everyone at the top level plays Mario 64 the same. There might be
there's a right and wrong way to play.
Yeah, that's what I mean. There's a few changes. However, but randomizer, though, there's a lot of different ways to play that now. I mean, I'm sure one day we'll break that too. But Easy, I want to ask you about, you know, last question about the YouTube kind of stuff. It seems like if right now, if someone's coming up and they make a good YouTube channel and YouTube content about speedrunning, they get big. I mean, think about it. Like, the more people are coming now, and which means to me that we're not saturated yet. You know what I mean? Like, if you make good stuff, people are gonna watch it. You got a lot of views.
Not even.
So what do you think about that?
Not even like remotely close. I've been trying to recruit like new people to join the scene. It's just like, it's very difficult content to make. And it's kind of like I have to push these people to get themselves built up enough to even like 1,000 subscribers, which is like a very difficult milestone coming from scratch. But I've just been teaching like a couple people like pretty much everything I know and like telling them exactly what to do. And a lot of times what ends up happening is they just don't do what I say to do, and then they just quit.
Yeah.
Like,
classic,
where like even my roommate, like, basically I have this philosophy where I think anybody can reach 1,000 subs, and why 1,000 subs is important is so that you can get monetized and that YouTube will better recommend your content and you can really get like those bigger view numbers. But it would suck to make content and have it fall on deaf ears. So you want to make content that like people need so that people will stay, and then you can branch out. And it's the exact same thing with Twitch. SHiFT definitely knows this well enough with having a niche, holding that, and then, you know, if you get to the point that you want to branch out, you probably can go do it if you think it's good for your channel. But yeah, even like I said, my roommate has even gotten himself to 500 subscribers just through me telling him what to do, and he doesn't even post that often. So it's like literally anybody can do it. I guess just listen to what EZScape says.
Same thing with speedrunning too. Like, there's so many people who, and again, like with the hobby, it's such an issue that people see the world records and like the most popular streamers are always the best runners in most cases, but they all think, like, most of them think they can't do it themselves. They just like, how do these guys do it? You must have to just know life it for like several years to even be able to come close to this. But again, it's the same thing with content creation, is that we need more like encouragement because people just are afraid to try.
Agree for sure.
Yeah,
People
no,
get so stuck
definitely.
up. Go ahead.
Oh, sorry, what was that?
No, you go. You go ahead. I was gonna say something stupid.
Well, what I was saying is that like pretty much all the people with the information to make content don't have the time to do it because they are the ones speed running the games. I know SHiFT like knows that like it's very difficult.
I try, but it's hard. Yeah.
It's very difficult to speedrun full time, and it's very difficult to find editors even in the speedrunning community. Like I've been looking for editors for myself. It's just like you need to understand speedrunning very well, and you have to be good at editing. And nobody really reaches the top levels at either one of those at the same time. So it's very difficult for us to find editors.
That's interesting.
But
yeah,
but yeah, pretty much the field's wide open. Anybody can come in whenever they want to. But like I said, getting the first 1,000 subscribers, getting monetized, and then like, but I mean, we've seen Carl Jobs just hit 50,000 subscribers. Small Ant 1 just hit 50,000 subscribers. Dark Viper AU just hit 50,000 subscribers. These are all speedrunning related channels.
So yeah,
and they only make speedrunning related content. And I mean, yeah, we're speedrunning related content. So if there's a time to get in, you have to do it like now, because this is going to be one of the biggest years, and maybe 2020 will be the biggest year for speedrunning. And it could, I don't know what will happen. We either ascend or it will just start slowly declining. But I think that right now is maybe the biggest moment for us right now to really get started. So I'm trying to get as many people on, because we don't have enough content out. But once we have like a lot of content going out there, it'll just continue to do well. We'll continue to propel off each other.
Yeah. So there you go, guys. You heard it from Easy here. If you want to do YouTube, now's the time. But also we're saying though, like Easy, you can give a lot of people hints and the best tips, advice ever. But you know, if someone doesn't want to do it, they're not gonna do it. You know what I mean? That's just life. You know. So, you know. But if you want to do it,
oh
do it, guys,
yeah.
You know what I mean? But
yeah. I will say like literally the last that if you are genuinely seriously interested in making content, my DMs are open on Twitter, and I will help you. Just like I need to see that you have some base content that I can look at and see like if you're promising at all. I mean, you don't have to be a top level like YouTuber. I wasn't when I started, but I can tell you exactly what to do. So yeah, just leaving that open for anybody that is watching this. I will help you. Yeah.
Better to show him something. Just say, hey, I want to do this. What do I do? And have nothing. You know what I mean? So yeah, create something first, probably. He would like that. Yeah. All right. So yeah,
he's giving me some great advice on like tags and how much weight is in your titles and your likes and whatnot. So even the simple stuff like that, like if you don't want to, don't be worried about like wasting anybody's time by asking for help. If they're outwardly asking you to ask them for help, like he's definitely going to give you some good advice, even if you just want a little bit. And that little bit of advice, like if you're brand new, like it's like speedrunning, like the little information you get right from the beginning builds such a strong base. So for maybe even like 5 minutes of a conversation, you can get so much experience and wisdom out of that. So definitely like reach out to people who are offering help for sure.
Took me like millions of people watching my videos to like critique me in the comment section, and then over the span of videos, and most people aren't going to get that. So
there you go, guys.
I wish I had a helping hand.
EZScape is ready to help, guys, and wants this community to be as big as possible, and I think it's awesome too. EZScape make good stuff, and one thing. Okay, I'm gonna change topics because we go deep again, but let's change topics. Let's get to SHiFT here, and I talked about earlier when Rehydrated got announced, Beginning from Bottom remake. I mean, what would that? I smiled myself because I was like, wow, what is SHiFT feeling right now? What was that like when you saw that happen? You really got the because there was some rumors or something, then you got the confirmation. So what was that like for you?
Yes. So for the longest time, in March of 2018, we got the announcement from THQ Nordic that not only with THQ was a bankrupt company that originally developed Battle for Bikini Bottom, or they published it, and Heavy Iron Studios was developers of it, and they purchased the license from Nickelodeon from. I think the Activision had it before. They purchased the license to be able to publish SpongeBob games. So the question at that point was like, which SpongeBob games would they choose? When would they come out? And when we get the announcements? They said, we'll give you an announcement in the coming months. And again, like a year passed and nothing happened. And we were just like, they're not going to do anything. We didn't expect anything. And every time we had like an E3 or any type of announcement, they just say, we're not talking about it this time. They'd ignore all requests, even though on Twitter, everybody was pestering them to say something about the game. I think that a big reason why it got announced is because of how many people, like how many fans and and lovers of the game like constantly reach out to them like, we want to hear about Battle for Bikini Bottom. So I think they might not even have started the project yet, but they just got bombarded with so many requests that they had to say something. So again, like we have no idea when this game is coming out, but when it finally got announced, I woke up at like in the afternoon. I checked my phone. I legit thought it was like a joke. I saw it, and my first impression is like, is this real? Like, I think that was actually what I tweeted, like, is this real? And then it just finally set in. And one of my good friends, Ringo Tongo, in the Battle for Bikini Bottom community, we've been running the game for 3 years, and he just like, I had the same reaction, like, this does not feel real. And then like a few hours later, it sets in, and you're just like, oh, like this is happening now. So I immediately got on that. I hopped on Premiere. I made a short video talking about my thoughts on the game, gave it the title and everything like that. And the video blew up, and my tweets about the game also blew up because Battle for Bikini Bottom is super popular on Twitter, but it's very hard to get people to see it. That's the thing about this game is YouTube and Twitter both love the game, and whenever some content that trends based on the game comes around, like it always gets thousands of likes and thousands of views, and it's all the comment sections are all just, I remember this game from when I was a kid. I completely forgot about it. I want to replay it. And it's just, again, like YouTube and Twitter, two huge platforms for the game. So the YouTube video exploded. The next one I made exploded as well. The tweets were going all over the place. And that all led back to my stream, which, again, like now because my stream is doing so well, it's showing up higher on the recommended for like the browsing section, and more people are finding it. So it just completely it jump started my entire like social media all over again. It's like a whole second chance to experience the growth that I did 3 years ago that got me started. So it's very exciting.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Just getting started too.
People that watch the show regularly know I always try to think of. I'm always thinking of ways to money in speedrunning. Not just because I'm not talking about getting rich or anything. People getting rich. I'm saying money in speedrunning is always a good thing.
That's what I talked about.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. That. So, if the people like, I know I'm not saying THQ is going to watch this video because they're probably not, but I don't know how much you're trying actively SHiFT to get involved, but if they don't involve you, it's very foolish. I mean, you know what I mean? In some way, I'm not saying they have to, bring you down and ask, what do we do in this? What should we do this? What should we do this? But they need to involve you somehow.
We're talking about
they make a mistake.
The newest video, because
yeah.
The one that I just because I was talking about the one that I posted on like day one. All right, now I got you. I'm following that.
So if THQ doesn't involve SHiFT, you're being foolish, THQ, because in some way, right? Even if it's you get to play the game a week early. You get to go to the studios and make a video from that. There is no better person to advertise this game to. If they pay you, that's great too. If they don't have to, you do it anyway because you get a lot of views from that anyway. But it seems like this is a good chance. Are you actively going after that? I mean, have you sent feelers out there? I mean, because it seems like an amazing opportunity.
Day one, I messaged them on their I think their email, right? Their email and their social media. I said, hey, like I want to work with you. I want to get involved with definitely the marketing end and potentially maybe even the production end of this game. I want to give advice on how to make it as replayable as possible, because I think that a lot of game developers and studios, they might not realize how important it is to have replay value for your games. And speedrunning is, people don't realize it. Because Cheese has talked about this extensively, if you put all the speedrunning streams together and you look at how many views they have all together, a lot of Twitch is taken up by speedrunning. And again, like we have huge heavy hitters like Caleb Hart, Clint Stevens, all those guys, the big guys like Trihex as well.
Yeah.
They're all like, they're faithful to the speedrunning community, and they still speedrun. Like even if they take breaks, they still come back to it. And it's just a lot of opportunity for ad revenue, viewership, exposure. So I think that THQ Nordic being a smaller company right now, just having purchased a bankrupt company that owns all these like publishing licenses to all these games, they should consider appealing to smaller communities, because even if they appeal to like a community as relatively small as speedrunning, like that's still like content creators that can grow off of that and advertise their game in a positive light. It's only going to help them. It's only going to help. And again, like Twitch is the future. People are like, Twitch is getting bigger and bigger by the day. It's again, like when I got back into Twitch, it was so much smaller, and I still thought it was big, but like since then, like it's just gotten so much bigger, and it's so much harder to break through now because of how saturated it is. It's starting to get to the point where like you really have to have some niche thing to break through. And I think that SpongeBob is that niche thing. Like it's still like SpongeBob speedrunning is so like when you hear it, you just think to yourself, like, how can this be a thing? Like, why are people doing this? There's curiosity, and I think they'd be smart to definitely take into consideration like how passionate the community is built around speedrunning this game, and how many people more can be like reeled into it, because there's still so many people out there who might be interested in esports and play the game as a kid, and even people who didn't play the game as a kid, they can see it and see how sick it is, and they can get into it. So there's so much untapped potential, and I think that just by the announcement of this game, the sheer announcement, just a little 10-second trailer with no gameplay, no nothing, can spark this much attention and help my tiny little channel become a little bit less tiny. Like, imagine when the game actually comes out, how big that's going to be. So you're absolutely right. They should definitely consider.
It's I promise you, TSQ, it's cheaper to have SHiFT do something, make a video, than it is to, do ads to random people on YouTube, put YouTube ads or whatever. You know what I mean? Like, it's so much it's so targeted. It's insane. Like, laser focused target. You know what I mean? But all right, let's move on. One thing you have to think about and worry about, so you talked about in your video just dropped. It's called competitive potential in SpongeBob SquarePants Rehydrated. Check it out on your YouTube channel. But what if the game, the nightmare could happen where the game just sucks? You know what I mean? Which you got to think about, right? Because remakes aren't always great. We've seen a lot of shitty remakes, right? How many good remakes are there? So what do you think of thoughts in the future? Do you think in the end we're going to go back to the original SpongeBob and play that anyway? You know what I mean? Is that the end game here? What do you think?
Here's the thing. There are a few things at play here that need to be considered. But to start off, Battle for Bikini Bottom as a base game with no glitches is like the definition of a meme speedrun. Like, it straight up has nothing going for it, really, except for the fact that it's open world, I guess, and it has platforming elements. But without glitches in it that really push its engine to the greatest potential, it doesn't have the blessing that Mario games have, where you have like flips, dives, rollouts, all these base game mechanics that are good for something like speedrunning. So that's why every Mario game that comes out, like every 3D Mario game, people get excited because they know the base game mechanics lend itself to exactly what we're doing here. And for Battle for Bikini Bottom, you really need to have the cruise boosting, the lag clipping, the damage boosts, the one frame tricks, like all that stuff needs to be in play to make it interesting. So that's why NG Plus is becoming so popular now, because it's cruise boosting the entire time. People love that movement. It makes it so much more Mario-esque. It has the tricks as well to mix it in more, to give that appeal to people who like more of the trick-heavy speed runs like Zelda. It appeals to a lot of people that they're willing to open their mind to it. But with the new one coming out, it's safe to say it's not going to be made on the same engine, because I don't remember who owns it, but Renderware is not property of THQ Nordic, so they would have to make it on a new engine. So we're still waiting to see what that engine might be. But the point is that these glitches that are all occurring in Battle for Bikini Bottom, because again, it's not a very broken game if you play it casually. It's not like Sunshine where you just walked into a block and you clip right through just casually. You have to really know what you're doing to break this game and make it not work. And it's very stable too. So again, like, it's not a game that's particularly broken unless you really like dig into it and force it to break. It's really just because the engine has these oversights with animation overlapping that causes all these things to happen. It's just animation overlap leads to this glitch that causes this glitch that causes that glitch. That's the whole game, pretty much. That's why when people see it, it's so exciting and surprising that you can do all these things, because it was so hidden and like buried deep into the game that you could never know about it unless you saw a speedrun of it. Now, for the new game, like, people who are unaware of speedrunning, it might just be a better version of the game casually. It might be an even better game. But as far as speedrunning goes, it's going to be on a different engine. So I think that unless they deliberately add back the things that were because again, people ask me all the time, do you think they're going to patch cruise boosting? Do you think they're going to patch damage boost? And I say, well, they're not going to be able to patch it because it's not going to be in the same game. It's being built up again from the ground up. It's not going to have the ability to have these glitches unless they purposefully hard code them in. So I think that, like, there will be new glitches, obviously. Like, Super Mario Odyssey is an example of a newer run that, because its base game mechanics are so good, and again, like, all games are broken, all games have glitches. Like, it has those base mechanics and some, like, gaps you can cross and some things you can clip through. And because those things, like, that's all you need for a good speedrun. That's all you need for a popular speedrun, is to have the movement, the tricks, and the glitches, even if they're not, like, crazy mind-blowing stuff like levitation or, like speed storage. Like, you don't need crazy stuff. It just has to be good enough. So I think that the game at the very least will be like a good casual game. But whether it's good to speedrun is still up in the air. I relate this back to Smash a lot because I think that the Smash community is pretty similar to speedrunning in a lot of ways. That there's going to be a Steam workshop for this game because it's being released on PC. So there's going to be the ability to add public mods for the game, and that's the first thing that I thought in my mind is like, well, if cruise boosting doesn't exist, we can just put it back in the game. You can just mod the game and put it back in. So like, instantly thought to myself like Project M. Like what if the game ends up being like modified to like people saw Brawl and they liked it, but they wanted it to be more like Melee. They thought there were elements of the game that were good, but they wanted to combine both elements. So maybe we can see Steam workshops because we have a modding community of really smart guys, by the way. They built an entire level editor that you can use to make your own levels in Battle for Bikini Bottom. Like they completely reverse engineered the entire game and the source code to figure out how to do that. So we know that the people in this community are perfectly capable of making this. I'd love to see like a mod that can combine the great elements of both games. And again, like because Steam is so big, and with the help of THQ Nordic's promotion, maybe we can even see like the Steam Workshop version becoming competitive if the base game isn't. So you just never know. Because like you were saying, like we got to keep our mind open to modifying games and making them more interesting because that's just kind of like that's the future is keeping things changing. And randomizers, bingos, stuff like that really help like that as well. And especially like the nonstop mods. It's basically just a nonstop mod. One of the controversies that might come up is like, well, it's kind of arbitrary to speedrun a game that you're creating your own glitches in. But to that, I would say like it's just keeping it more faithful to the original game, where these things are not ideas that we made up. They're from the original game. We're just transferring them. Mm-hmm. So again, like I think that the success of Project M, people didn't look at that game and they say, "Oh, well, it's not really playing Brawl." They found it fun and competitive, so they can still play it. And I think that's a great example. It's a great precedent, rather, that things like that can actually happen for base games that might be a little bit lackluster. They can make them more competitive by adding that next step to it. Because again, Project M is like it's a game where not only does it appeal to competitive players more, it appealed to casual players more too, because they add new characters and new things you could do as a casual player, that like costumes, color palette swaps, things like that, like simple things that casuals would be like, oh, okay, it's like better Brawl. But once they go deeper into it, they could see it's like, okay, this has more interesting mechanics. Like if they choose to go deeper. So just allowing people to do that with the Steam Workshop and being on new consoles is going to be really huge for the game. I can't wait to see where that goes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it just seems if there was a shift stock, maybe you're a little bit too late before the start of the rise, but now's the time to buy it, guys. Because wow, what a time to be alive for Shift if you're the Shift man right now.
GDQ figured it out last minute, but
yeah. So last question for Shift, and then we can get to our closing here. I kind of debated asking this one, but I know you're a smart dude. You can handle this. I was doing research, checking Twitter and stuff, and I discovered there are definitely like the Shift detractors out there. You know what I mean? The people that just don't like Shift. And it seems weird to me as someone that you seem so dedicated to making a community thrive. And I didn't even know this existed until I started doing some research and finding it. And it's like, what do you think that's about? Why do people, is it jealousy? Is it this guy is a big,
I think a lot of it is like old school haters who just had an issue with like, when I was first getting my footing, like I'm sure I was a little bit hard on some people who gave me shit and tried to like push me down when I was trying to come up. Because again, like when the game first started getting a lot of attention, if you remember, like a few years ago, like everybody just kind of like goofed on it, and a lot of the attention it was getting was all negative. But the people who stuck around are the ones who gave it a chance and liked it. And again, my attitude to people who would come in and just act negative and unreasonably hateful toward the game, I would just shut them down immediately, and that builds up after a while. People, they see like if you're constantly popping into a stream where someone's just going off on people, like it builds a pretty negative perception of not only the person but also the game. And I think as I've become a lot more calm with that, like in recent years. But I think a bigger thing is that people aren't really doing it as much anymore. I don't have as much of a reason to be mad at people for resenting the game. Like for a while, like even like GDQ, like obviously like this is more of like an internal thing, like just feeling like they don't respect the game or they have like an issue with it or something like that. Even that gap is starting to bridge in my mind, where I feel like people are really starting to like come around and accept it as something that we're passionate about. And start to see the reason why we're passionate about it. I think that a lot of the stuff I say about how much potential this game has, and how much fun it is to run, how good it is compared to a lot of games, that makes people a little bit angry because like everybody thinks that their own speed game is the best, and obviously like I think mine's the best because I run it, and so does everybody else. But I think people just get overly offended when you talk about your game in such a positive light. They think that like that's like a way of putting their game down, but that's never what it is at me. Like I'm just showing people like this is how much I care about this game. And look, there are all these people out here who care about it too. So why can't we just give it a chance and like become more open-minded about it? It's just kind of crazy because like Nintendo games being competitive as well is something that like in some communities it's frowned upon or was frowned upon in the past, where like why are people playing these kids games, you know? But in the speedrunning community, SpongeBob is the kids game and Nintendo is the adult game. So it's like the roles are kind of reversed there. So I find a lot of the insulting SpongeBob thing kind of hypocritical, especially coming with from some people who they are from communities like Smash or the fighting game community, where they struggled to get a reputation there for so many years. But here they are like playing Nintendo games, but like, and here comes another game that like, again, like its reputation is kind of hurt by being a kid's game, quote unquote. But again, like they won't give it the same respect and give it the same chance. So that's a lot of where my frustration comes from, and the people just being so close-minded about it, especially because like the game itself, like it's more of a cult classic where people who remember it, they love it, and they assume everybody else knows what it is. But in reality, it's not that popular of a game, even though it was like a platinum hit on all 3 consoles. Like that generation of gaming was kind of small compared to how big gaming is now. So people just don't know about it, but they will know about it now. And people are so surprised at this remaster. Like, why is this random game getting a remaster? It's like, it's not a random game. Like this thing was pretty damn popular back in the day. And a lot of people won't admit it, but they played it and they liked it when they were kids, even though they make fun of it. So that's the thing, is like people may, they may like, there are a lot of like religious haters who have an issue with me. And I guess like, cause I call it like it is. And you know, people who try to get under my skin, I don't really like just roll over for them. I fire back at them a lot, for better or worse. Like, I think that people just need to understand, like, my intentions are never ill. Like, I think I'm pretty open about like how I feel about speedrunning, what direction I want to go in. I try to be genuine with everybody, whether it's again for better or for worse. But I think as long as like people can appreciate that, like we don't have to be friends. We can just coexist and have like mutual respect for one another. If you're willing to accept like, hey, I'm not gonna like pretend I'm okay with this or not say anything if it upsets me. Like obviously, like I don't outwardly try to attack people just for fun or because I think it's funny or whatever. Like obviously, like, if you look at all these interactions I have with these people on social media that you're probably seeing, like usually they provoke whatever it is first. Like they usually like, attack the game or attack my character. And people, again, like you were saying, like why there's such like a counterculture against me in this game. I think a lot of it is like the again, for better or for worse, my response to people who try to just randomly go off on a tangent, making fun of it or criticizing it. Because I have this code where it's like you should not make fun of something you're ignorant about. You should at least try to understand it first. And when people going around calling this game a meme or a joke or like a not a real speed run, I've gotten that one too, which is kind of weird because like what is a fake speed run, you know?
Yeah, well, that's ridiculous. Yeah.
But like the criticisms, like they don't line up with how the game actually is. You can tell these people have never actually played it or watched a run before, or they've watched a run and they haven't tried to understand it. So that's why I get so frustrated. Is like, if you're not trying to understand it or give it its due justice, like I shouldn't even have to respond to you. But the thing is, like, I feel like if nobody's sticking up for the game, then it's just gonna always be the dumpster game. Like it's always gonna be the fun thing to pick on. It's never, the stigma is never gonna change if you don't show like, okay, well, there are people who have played this game for thousands of hours, and there are a lot of them, and they deserve respect too, just like everybody else does, you know?
Yeah. And the silly when people say meme game. What's not a meme game? If you think about it, they're all the same. They're all just games that we're playing. It's funny, but
yeah,
it's just ridiculous. All right, let's get to the closer here. We've been here, kept you guys here for a while here. Good talk here, boys. The last segment is always. I kind of mentioned an idea I have. I'm a big idea man. I always throw out ideas here, and I got one for you. I want to hear both of you guys' thoughts on it. Let's start with you, EZScape. Here's my idea. Here's my pitch, and you tell me good, bad, whatever you want. I want to have, now that Speed Gaming has a live event, GSA has live events, this is what I want. 2020, 2021, one of the not too long from the future. I want a GSA versus Speed Gaming competition, right? We line up a sponsor, DHQ, they're fine, whoever you want, anybody you want. 10K prize, 5K prize, whatever you want. Then we allow GSA and Speed Gaming to choose the best 2 runners in whatever fashion they want. Long tournament, Twitch Rivals style, where you have 4 hours. Whoever gets the best time, they win. 2 runners for like 3 or 4 games, right? Best 2 runners from each team, let's say, GSA team and Speed Gaming team. And then we bring them together for a single live event, right? Competition between the 2 speedrunning competitions. And here's another thing: you could have each side can choose 2 of the games, right? So you can have kind of the reveal stream as well. Like, okay, GSA, they have some strong, Cheese is kind of on the GSA team, so he's a strong 64 runner. He might choose 64. Well, GSA, they have kind of the randomizer team, so they might have Andy. They'll say, well, we're going to choose, Legend of Zelda, right? I think that'd be pretty hype. What are your thoughts? Bad things? What do you think, EZScape?
So, are they competing for viewership?
No, they're competing. It's a single event. It's like a together event to hopefully build up both, right? In the end, there's a prize at the end, though. Because
so you want it to be like a racing marathon with both organizations present.
Yeah.
That's what you want.
Don't say marathon, because I want to see a one-night event, right? A one-night, 3 or 4 hour thing. You know what I mean? So like a one night. Hey, this is they come together to see who's the top of each game in each kind of team. What do you think about that, EZScape?
I mean, so wait, you said prize pools because are they, because the way you're talking about like competition and the way you're saying like picking games out, I'm assuming the way that I'm interpreting it is that you're saying GSA is picking a game and then both sides have to pick runners from their side to participate in it.
Yes. However fast they want.
The problem that I see there is that since so I'll say we as in GSA are like hosting Super Mario 64 tournaments, we pretty much already have all the SM64 players.
That was the problem I was thinking as well.
Like Speed Gaming doesn't have the SM and they just would more align with GSA. It would feel weird to say, even saying Punke, having him be a Speed Gaming would be weird just because he's been involved. Not that anybody can't be involved with both. It just doesn't. They just don't like. It'd be weird even to have them pick sides at that point. I'm not saying like bad with the idea. I'm just saying, or bad idea altogether. I'm saying that just that part of it. Mm-hmm. There you go.
See, I thought about that from the opposite perspective, where if you have a league where if you have like GSA and Speed Gaming, they both held the same game at some point, they're probably going to have a lot of the same runners playing in both leagues because, like, again, like speedrunning is not at the point yet where, like, I guess, like, in the future, maybe certain sponsors, like certain esports teams would say, like, okay, you have to compete in this league. You know?
Yeah. That's a thing.
We're not. Well, it's not like divide. It's not really divided like say like baseball, where you have the 2 different leagues and then the World Series. I get what you're thinking. Like it's like a World Series. They come together from the 2 leagues. Exactly. I just feel like it's not like quite there yet, where you can have runners from the same game compete in both leagues and not have any sense of alignment, or just completely play in one and ignore the other, the other way around. I think what can work though is banding together to maybe do make a randomizer, or like some like we did Super Mario Maker at Smash and Splash with was it you, Easy, and Ludwig, I think, right? And Cheese.
Well, yeah. So what I did at Smash and Splash was I had Mario Maker Challenge. It's supposed to be with pro Smash players, but lo and behold, at a Smash event, Smashers are very busy. So we got Cheese versus Ludwig, and then we had the Mario Kart Double Dash runners come up and do it as well. But the Mario Maker thing that I would like to do future things, and more. I think it has a lot of potential.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think I am putting
something like that. Just pick a game that like maybe both sides can play, and just play it.
That's a good idea as well. Like, yeah, just pretty much just like you could literally just pick out like a random arbitrary game, but I guess then people kind of lose the appeal of watching because people are only going to come to for the big game.
It would work if it was something like I always use Smash as an example because it's so similar, and the direction that GSA is moving, it seems pretty similar as well. Like the Summit, where they could just have personalities that are so built up that they can play anything and people will watch. I just think that like we're just not ready for it. Like it can be a good idea, but we're just not like quite there yet.
Yeah.
I think collaborative events like an event that speed gaming and GSA can host at the same time and combine viewers for their own leagues. Maybe that can work too. But again, I just feel like what'll happen if we have like Super Mario 64 on speed gaming, Super Mario 64 for GSA, and they make their like top 3. There's going to be crossover. So again, like people aren't aligned to certain teams. And again, like the first thing I thought as well is like, well, what makes like Cheese aligned to
that's the thing.
GSA really? I think it's more because like he's a special case because he's directly involved in the organization.
Right.
But his alignment, if you want to get more into like the esports side of it, is CLG, and it's like whatever CLG in the future, if they care about which league he's playing, and then that's like their call. So again, like it can work in the future, but yeah.
Oh, and also, pretty much the other thing would be who's streaming it, because
Exactly.
there's like some logistics that would have to be worked out in a way that both parties would even benefit. So I feel like it's harder for like big Twitch channels to collaborate unless it's like the Melee. I mean, again, going to Melee every single time, but they have a way of doing it where those channels that stream everything at the events, they have 2 streams going on at once, which works there, but it doesn't work for a speedrunning, especially with what you kind of described. 2 streams at the same time would be pointless because you're just splitting up the content.
I am putting the horse in front of the carriage, I think, is a little bit, because there is no teams yet, right? I guess I'm just dreaming of that day, because how awesome would that be? That would be so crazy.
Like a year or 2 in the future. Who knows? Who knows?
All right, guys, we talked enough. It is time for the shout outs. So I'll let you shift. Give me your shout outs. Who you want to shout out? Anything is fine. Anything and all you want to say now. Now's the time.
All right, well, all I got to say is, like, for me, like, if you want to see me tweet dumb shit, go follow me on Shift Posting. It's like shit posting, but with shift in it. And if you want to watch Battle for Bikini Bottom speedruns, go to twitch.tv/shift. And I guess, like, shout outs to THQ Nordic for even making this possible, all this stuff that's happening with this game. If you want to work with me, I'm always down. Just hit me that email. And also, shout out to GSA for leading the way on this new era of speedrunning.
There you go. Easy.
Pretty much just shout outs to all the up and coming YouTube content creators. I just want people to be more motivated to create content. I mean, we got, like I said, Carl Jobs, Apollo. I know Cheese wanted to make content. Glad Jonas, Rush, and also Retro is a name that doesn't get brought up enough. He made the Ocarina of Time world record progression video. He made the cheating and speedrunning assessment video, and he's currently working on some other videos that I don't know if I'm allowed to spoil, but those will be some big ones. And pretty much a shout out to anybody that's trying to come up. Hopefully I get to hear from some people, but that's pretty much all I have.
There you go, guys. And I guess I should say shout outs to Cheese for not being here. The show was very smooth.
I actually should bring it up back for a very recent some recent news. Not really a shout out, but more of like just making people aware. There was a recent loss in the speedrunning community. Mr. Marowak was a really good friend and member of my community as well. A lot of communities. We have no idea what happened, but supposedly an accident, and he's no longer with us. So he was, again, like a member of the speedrunning community. He was an artist. He helped with, I think, like what's the YouTube channel that makes the matchups?
I was just about to think. They're the ones that post like all the video game music, I believe. Or Silva Gunner or something like that.
Silva Gunner, yeah, that
I don't know if that's.
He was involved in a lot of communities, so I'm sure, like, if you really think about it, a lot of the stuff that you guys who are watching now, all the stuff you're involved with, he's probably a part of it in some way. Like he's been around the bend. So respect to him. We're gonna miss him a lot. He was a good guy. So
for
shout outs to Mr. Marowak, man.
Yeah, just kind of sideways tangent for that. I always say this every year around GDQ time, and a lot of people watch GDQ. They don't. It's the only time they watch speedrunning and stuff, and it's kind of their way to see speedrunning is this. But I always like to say, if you watch something there and you like it, tell the person you liked it, right? That means a lot to a lot of people. And it feels like nothing, saying someone on Twitter that was awesome run, but it does mean a lot to people. So if you do like something, it's, tell someone that you liked it. Go follow their stream. Because, it really makes people, people are doing a hobby they love because they love it, of course. But it does mean a little extra when you hear from someone that's something you do for your hobby, that they enjoyed watching you do it. So don't be afraid to let people know when you like something they do, guys, on this week. So
I think people just don't realize like how significant an impact you can have just by telling one person how cool something is.
Yeah.
Because it gives you so much more of a reason to care. And I mean, that's how Battle for Bikini Bottom grew to be as big as it is now. It was just like one person at a time. And then their friends of friends say, you should try this run. Or they show their friends like some tricks as like a party trick or something like that. And it just builds from there. So if you see a race that you liked or a moment or a clips are so easy. You just take a clip, you just send it to your friend on Discord or iMessage or whatever you're using, and there you go. Like there's the interest. Like if you really want to see speedrunning grow, like word of mouth is the way to do it because we're so small. Like every little impact is going to be so massive. It's going to ripple. It grows a lot.
There you go, guys. EZScape SHiFT, ALTInsider, Cheese. We are out. RunDown. Thanks, guys. Hopefully see you on the show again.
Later, guys.